What's up everybody, today I'll be reviewing the post-toxic crossbow in Respawnables. The weapon is a zombie-attacked poisonous bow, which you unlock at level 1. The weapon costs 200 zombie knights. Here are the weapon's main stats: 3 damage, 3 range, 3 accuracy, and 2 agility. In this review, I will be using a Pocket Gamer article, which has exclusive information about some of the stats about this weapon given to them by Digital Legends. I'll be using it so you guys get a better understanding of those stats. The stats mentioned in the article are damage, rate of fire, range, ammo, and reload time. I will be talking about all of those and a few more, starting off with the ammo capacity. This weapon holds 8 rounds in the clip, which is a lot for its type. The damage comes in at 60. You also of course have the additional poison damage, since this is a poison weapon. There are 5 ticks of poison in total. The damage of the poison is not mentioned in the article. The range comes in at 80 meters. As you can see right here, you can shoot all the way across the map. The accuracy is also very good, however this doesn't mean that it's anything special, seeing how many of the other bows that aren't charged weapons have the exact same accuracy. The same thing goes for the precision, which isn't all the best. In this next clip I'll show you this. As you can see here, not all of the arrows go directly to the center of the crosshairs, which means that you might actually get a few lucky headshots because of this. Your agility while using this weapon isn't very good, so I suggest you use some agility increasing gear so you can move around a bit faster while using this weapon. It's the same as other 2 agility bows from the ones that I have tested. Here's a little agility test in Royal Garden, which is running from one side of the map to the other. It took about 13 seconds for this weapon to do this, which is a much slower than some of the other weapons that I've tested. This weapon's rate of fire is 6 rounds per second. This means that you'll empty an entire clip in about 1.33 seconds, which is very fast. This weapon also has a pretty respectable reload speed at 2.2 seconds. There you could see I got a headshot on Nuber2245, which is 120 damage. It's worth noting that your poison damage does not increase when you get a headshot. The velocity or projectile speed, as you've probably noticed already, is very fast. However, it's not an instant hit, so there's a little time in between when you hit your trigger and when the arrow strikes its target. And a big tip is to get used to this speed, so you know exactly where to shoot ahead of the enemy when they're running sideways, and you don't have to use your auto aim, since most of your arrows will probably miss that target, especially the further that target is away from you. And that's why I recommend you use this weapon in closer range maps, since your arrows will take less time to reach the enemy. I would also recommend that you would use the spotters, since they give you a huge advantage over the enemy, allowing you to see where they are on the map through walls, seeing them turn corners, so you can pre-fire and get a very easy kill on them, even if they're using a more powerful weapon than you are. As you can see, we have a zombie incinerator guy, and Darius right here is using the dual soaker pistols, but we do kill him in the end thanks to that damage over time caused by the poison. And as you may have already noticed, we also have 2 noobs in this match, which require less arrows to kill than the other 2 players, and that's where another tip comes in, is knowing how many arrows it takes to kill an enemy is of great value. As you can see right here, I shoot 1 arrow into Max, and I know he won't survive it, so I don't need to worry about him anymore and can move on to the next enemy. Also, knowing if they're using medikits or another protective gadget is of great value. As you can see right here, I got 2 hit markers on Max's shield, doubling that poison damage, but it wasn't enough to kill him in time, so I had to finish him off with another arrow. So that was the first match in Bewitched Headquarters, and as you can see we got 23 and 7, which I would call a pretty good score. So now in the second match we're in Sandtown, which is another phenomenal map for this weapon since it's a close range map. In this match, we also have a lot more enemies that are using great weapons than the last match, but I'm also using much better gear than before. As you probably saw in the last match, we were using noob clothes and we weren't using any masteries whatsoever. This time we are using masteries and we also have a lot better clothes equipped. And this really is a huge buff to the weapon. As you'll see right here, this enemy with 30% extra health, we kill him in one arrow. So we are using the summer camp cap, which gives us a 7% damage increase. Also a little agility increase, which is obviously appreciated since this weapon moves very slow. We also are using the mobile assisted unit jacket, which gives us another 20% damage increase. We are also using the Celtic pants, which gives us another damage increase. However, I don't know how much it increases the damage, but it's definitely noticeable. So if you know the amount, please tell me in the comments with some proof behind it. We are also using the masteries, which gives another massive buff to this weapon. We are using Burning Spirit 1, which gives us a 50% accuracy increase while moving. We're also using Burning Spirit 2, which gives us a 25% increase in reload speed while moving, and that brings the reload speed from 2.2 seconds to 1.65 seconds. We're also using Burning Spirit 3, which gives us a 25% increase in rate of fire while moving, and that brings the rate of fire from 6 rounds per second to 7.5 rounds per second, and will allow you to empty an entire clip in about 1 second. We're also using Glass Cannon to increase this weapon's damage by another 100%. And finally, we're also using Zombie Bull, but that really isn't a buff to the weapon. But this does give us our health back that Glass Cannon takes away, but it also takes away, of course, our automatic regeneration. And in this match, we're not using medikits, so I really have to try not to get hit. Now, this is just what I used to buff this weapon. Obviously, you can use different equipment. But do keep in mind that these damage boosts also affect your poison damage. And that's obviously phenomenal if you want to finish enemies off that don't die in one arrow. This will make it a lot easier. And just look at that double kill right there. That was amazing. We killed Dot first. And then right there we killed Dark Lord with one of our last arrows. That was awesome. Now look at this other kill that I'll get here in just a second. Watch this. So I shoot a few arrows there in the gap. And look at that, Blazer turned around the corner, ran straight into those arrows. As you can see right there, there he was. I already fired some arrows. And he just ran straight into him and died in one shot. That was a very lucky kill. So as you can see right here, we shot a bunch of arrows into Dark Lord's spawn shield. And that's where our final tip comes in. Is shooting a bunch of arrows into the spawn shield of an enemy is great, because when they come out of it, they'll be met by a huge amount of poison damage that they practically cannot stop unless they have some crazy type of gadget such as medikits or something like the immunity shields. So I've given you 3 tips with this weapon. Number 1, get used to the velocity or projectile speed. Number 2, try to figure out how many shots an enemy takes to kill. And number 3, try to shoot as many arrows as you can into the spawn shield of your enemy. And that tip will also allow you that you don't have to worry about that enemy anymore and can move on to the next one. So we're at the end of this match right now. In the last one we got 23 kills and we also got 7 deaths. So let's see how many kills and how many deaths we get in this one. And we got 34 and 6, that's pretty great. So now I'll share you my final opinion about this weapon. I really do like it a lot. I think it's fun to play with. However, you might disagree with that, since you might like a different type of weapon a bit more. I think it's very overpowered. It doesn't require much skill at all, especially not in the close range maps, where I definitely recommend you use it over the long range maps. Now, I'm not saying that you can't use it in the long range maps. I'm just saying that I think that it's at its best in the close range maps. It is still very effective in the long range maps, especially if you're a very skilled player, because a very skilled player can use every type of weapon in every type of map. I also think that it's cool that it's unlocked at level 1, and it doesn't cost too much for a zombie weapon, but of course zombie knights are difficult to get, so it's gonna be hard to get no matter what. But compared to the other zombie weapons, this one does cost quite a bit less. Finally, I also really like the sound, and I also think that the arrows themselves look pretty cool. However, I don't really like the way the weapon looks. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought of it with a like or a dislike and some feedback in the comments. If you want to support me, please consider subscribing, sharing this video on my channel with anybody who likes this type of content. That's it, that's all, bye.